Welcome. Today is Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. Coming up this hour, Virtual Beings Briefing 2. Virtual beings evolve from novelty to workforces policy, enterprise tools, and specialized hiring take shape. Virtual Beings Briefing 3. Virtual influencers and VTubers are reshaping digital entertainment and marketing across new platforms and titles. And finally, World Models and Meta-Anduril Briefing. Meta's push into world models and superintelligence pairs with a defense sector alliance. We begin with governance and policy. A Utah court is set to decide whether an AI-generated voice clone of murder victim Joyce Yost can be presented during the sentencing of her killer, marking a potential precedent for the use of synthetic voices in capital cases. Prosecutors used 11 labs to generate the clone from archival audio clips and a transcript of Yost's previous testimony. But defense expert Samir Patel of the University of Utah warned that people anthropomorphize even known AI systems and could treat the clone as authentic testimony, while Kenneth Marino of the University of Utah noted that 11 Labs does not disclose its training data or model weights, making validation impossible. The defense has subpoenaed 11 Labs for those internal details, and Judge Michael Rida expects to rule by mid-November. Next, products and vendors. China-based AI-generated virtual actress Fang Taozi has amassed over 250 million views and 400,000 followers within 2 months by starring in the workplace microdrama The Laid-Off Girl Created with intentionally rendered human imperfections such as skin blemishes and sweat beads, the character has also been turned into a social media personality, with separate accounts showing her in mundane daily activities. The scale of the response has intensified fears among traditional actors, particularly those in low-budget short drama productions, that synthetic talent could displace human performers. 1 March 2026, Beijing Internet Court ruling already ordered production companies to apologize and compensate an actress whose likeness was used on an AI character without authorization. Japan-based AI entertainment studio Megly raised approximately $0.6 million in a seed round from Asu Capital Partners, PixAI, Jig, JP, and Brave Group to build AI-native entertainment intellectual property under the Megly AI brand, where character design, lyrics, composition, vocals, and music videos are all AI-generated. The company was founded in April 2026 in Tokyo. Second Life Marketplace listing offered a Boss Bear avatar, a high-quality stylized bear avatar with premium streetwear and physically based rendering support, while on a Reddit forum, a user inquired about the technical feasibility of hosting a Second Life avatar on a Raspberry Pi in order to keep an alternate account in world continuously without tying up a full computer. In enabling technology news, Meta released Muse Glimmer, a 30 billion parameter dense open-weight model with a context window exceeding 120,000 tokens, designed to run long-horizon AI agents entirely on a single consumer GPU, such as an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5090. Because all 30 billion parameters activate for every token, rather than routing through a mixture of experts architecture, Muse Glimmer offers predictable latency and strong instruction following, with NVIDIA reporting throughput above 20,000 tokens per second on Blackwell Ultra hardware. The model is available on Hugging Face and can be paired with NVIDIA Nemo Claw for sandboxed agentic execution. And finally, hiring and teams. HRL Laboratories is seeking an agentic AI and graph machine learning research engineer to lead research into multi-agent systems that integrate knowledge graphs, graph RAG pipelines, and ontologies for memory, planning, and retrieval in mission-critical applications. The role demands experience with frameworks such as LangGraph and AutoGen, familiarity with model context protocol and agent-to-agent standards, and published research in top-tier venues, and requires U.S. citizenship for security clearance. Maple, a Canadian telehealth platform, is hiring a staff AI engineer to define its company-wide agent execution architecture, evaluation strategy, and observability standards for AI features delivered to over 8 million patients. The engineer will work with LangChain, LangGraph, and Copilot Kit, design guardrails for non-deterministic systems, and coordinate an AI governance model with security, privacy, and clinical stakeholders in a regulated healthcare setting. We begin with virtual influencers. Hi, Anne and colleagues. Trust me, I'm virtual. Understanding consumer engagement with influencers and travel intentions investigates how parasocial interaction and anthropomorphism drive engagement with virtual influencers in tourism. The study models trust transfer from virtual human endorsers to destination brands, offering a counterpoint to work focused on human social media personalities. Next, VTubers and virtual streamers. I kawan still you kasai. IUNG digital dan KO mode for KSI, KNTOMIAN, PADA, FENOMIAN, while YouTube, MAIPTHON live streaming by Anasa et al. Examines the commodification of intimacy in marathon YouTube live streaming, focusing on Indonesian VTuber practices. The paper analyzes how streamers reconstruct digital space to sustain viewer attachment and monetize parasocial closeness during extended broadcasts. And finally, titles mentioned. Trust me, I'm virtual. Understanding consumer engagement with influencers and travel intentions. Hyan, 2025. I KNSTO UKSI, IUNG digital dan KO mode fi KSI, KNTOMAN, PADA, FENOMIAN, while YouTube, MAIPTHON live streaming, ANASA. We begin with world models research. Descartes AI is rapidly emerging as one of Silicon Valley's most high-profile AI infrastructure companies, built on the thesis that the next trillion-dollar market is not AI video itself, but real-time AI. The company's core product, the Descartes optimization stack, sits between AI models and GPUs, optimizing inference efficiency and cutting computing costs, and now underpins three product lines: the optimization stack itself, the real-time video generation and editing model Lucy, and the interactive world model Oasis. Oasis goes beyond pre-rendered video to build an interactive 3D environment where users can interact in real time, with the latest version exploring scenarios such as robot training, autonomous driving simulation, and physical world modeling. Amazon and SpaceX are reportedly in advanced talks to acquire Descartes for between $6 and $7 billion, a sharp increase from a valuation of roughly $4 billion only 3 months earlier, with Nebius also linked to the process. LTX released LTX-25, an open-world model designed to translate the physical world into a language that generative AI can understand. Unlike large language models, a world model is meant to have a grounded grasp of physics and object interaction so that robots can navigate rooms without bumping into obstacles and AI video clips track motion correctly. The new model is optimized for local inference on NVIDIA RTX GPUs, generates a 10-second video from an image in under 7 seconds on NVIDIA superchips, and is natively integrated into Comfy UI. Because the weights are open, companies can customize it for their own needs and keep their intellectual property on their own hardware. The connection between video generation models and world models is becoming a competitive fault line with strategic stakes extending beyond entertainment. Chinese developers now make up 9 of the top 10 text-to-video systems on artificial analysis, leaderboard outside of Google, and many of the leading Chinese AI video firms, including Sheng Shu Technology, are moving toward releasing world models and broader multimodal systems. The underlying reasoning is that to generate convincing video, a model must learn at least a rough comprehension of motion, causality, and physics, and that capability can then be transferred to train robots or autonomous systems. The article from Bloomberg Opinion frames this as a contest where Washington's focus on chatbots risks overlooking more consequential progress in systems that can navigate the real world. DeepSeek and Unitree are partnering to develop AI models for robots, with DeepSeek investing roughly 140.8 million yuan for a 2.31% stake in Unitree through a strategic allocation tied to Unitree's IPO. The companies plan to jointly develop embodied AI technologies and will grant each other preferential access. Unitree will prioritize DeepSeek when procuring AI models and model training services, while DeepSeek will prioritize Unitree when purchasing humanoid and quadruped robots. The move is widely read as an effort by Unitree, a company strong in manufacturing and cost advantage, to close the embodied intelligence gap with rival mendiBot, which has already built an integrated stack spanning robot hardware, data, and its own VLA and embodied AI models. Samsung is developing its own in-house humanoid robot separately from its subsidiary Rainbow Robotics, and is reportedly working on a world model for robotics, an AI system that learns the physical world from video and other data, so a humanoid robot can predict the outcome of its actions. The project sits alongside Samsung's own AI model, Gauss, and a push to develop actuators in-house. And the company recently established the RX, Robotics E-Experience, business office reporting directly to CEO T.M. Rowe. Orica Biotechnologies closed a $100 million Series B round and explicitly framed it as a step toward building a biological world model for drug discovery. Founded in 2023 by Dr. Wayne Zhao, the company has built a closed-loop infrastructure called Lab in the Loop, in which its foundation model proposes molecular designs. Its wet lab generates functional data, and that data flows back into the model. Its open-source model OpenDDE, released under the Apache 2 license, achieved 70% .Q success on antibody-antigen structure prediction in Orica's own evaluation against roughly 48% for AlphaFold 3, with independent validation by Tamarind Bio posting 76.1%. The architecture is an AlphaFold 3-style pairformer scaled to 655 million parameters and 48 blocks, with the principal gain coming from width scaling. The company's CEO characterized the Series B as a critical step toward a biological world model that would simulate interactions between molecules, reason about the outcomes of molecular engineering, and support AI agents that plan and iterate on drug design autonomously. The University of Bonn is recruiting up to 2 tenured full professorships in artificial intelligence and machine learning as strategic flagship positions within the Lamar Institute, and the call specifically encourages profiles in emerging topics including foundational AI and world models, embodied AI, and hybrid machine learning. Morphi Robot, founded by former Huawei AI lead Huang Qingqiu, is applying a data-centric methodology to embodied intelligence. Huang argues that data quality matters more than model architecture and has built a data flywheel using lightweight wearable devices worn by cleaners in commercial environments, with rigorous quality filtering, classification, automated labeling, and multi-layer evaluation. Morphi Robot plans to begin training its own native embodied model from scratch around the end of the year, once it has accumulated enough data, and Huang does not want to label the approach as strictly a VLA model or a world model, saying both are essentially tools and plugins for a particular stage. Next, Meta Superintelligence Labs. Meta Superintelligence Labs released Muse Glimmer on August 10, a 30 billion parameter open-weight model under the Apache 2 license designed to run AI agents locally on a single consumer GPU or a Mac without an internet connection. Quantized to 4 bits, the model drops under 20 gigabytes and targets always-on personal agents handling scheduling, drafting, file management, and coding. The release was accompanied by a 6,500-word essay from Mark Zuckerberg titled "The Future is for Everyone," in which he laid out a vision for personal superintelligence, AI assistants controlled by individuals rather than a handful of companies, and promised that Meta would also open the weights of its flagship Muse Spark 1.2 model soon. Zuckerberg's essay argued that the concentration of superintelligence in a small number of institutions poses a greater risk than broad access, and he positioned open-weight models as a way to distribute power rather than merely a technical choice. He proposed sharing intermediate model training checkpoints with governments for early safety review, called for closer cooperation with law enforcement, and advocated against restricting model distillation, framing it as a principle that the United States must protect to maintain leadership. The manifesto also detailed a $145 billion capital expenditure budget for 2026, heavily directed at AI infrastructure and data centers, with a proposed $1 billion fund for the communities hosting those facilities. The strategic logic behind giving Muse Glimmer away for free is that Meta does not sell model access. It sells advertising and increasingly hardware, and a capable model running on the user's own device feeds that business, while commoditizing the layer that rivals such as OpenAI and Anthropic depend on selling. The model is distilled from the proprietary Muse Spark, reads text and images, carries a 131,000 token context window, and uses speculative decoding to roughly triple generation speed. Meta says it beats similarly sized models such as Gemma 4 and QN 3.6 on roughly half of 24 benchmarks, with particular strength in coding and research tasks. Scale AI CEO Alexander Wang said that Muse Spark's weights will be published soon, a move that would immediately make it the top open rival to China's open-weight ecosystem. Zuckerberg explicitly cast the open-weight push as a U.S. competitiveness measure, warning that any policy slowing American model releases risks ceding ground to foreign models. Analysts quoted in the South China Morning Post noted that many American users and companies prefer to build with American open models to avoid the compliance and reputational risks associated with Chinese alternatives. In Meta-Anduril partnership news, no material in the current batch of news items pertains to Meta's involvement with Anduril, the Eagle Eye program, Palmer Luckey and Mark Zuckerberg, the Executive Innovation Core, Detachment 201, or any downstream military applications of Meta's technologies through Anduril. And finally, people and hiring. Mark Zuckerberg published a 6,500-word manifesto framing Meta's future around personal superintelligence, open-weight models, and massive infrastructure investment, while also calling for a new governance mechanism in which an independent board participates in setting safety standards for model releases. Andrew Bosworth, Meta's CTO, publicly apologized to Palmer Luckey, and Zuckerberg personally invited Luckey to demo technology, though the specific context of the exchange is not detailed in the provided sources. Dr. Wayne Zhao, founder and CEO of Orica Biotechnologies, and a former tenured professor at UC Irvine, characterized the company's $100 million Series B as a critical step toward a biological world model. Huang Qingqiu, former head of AI for autonomous driving at Huawei and now CTO of Morphi Robot, is applying lessons from building Huawei's data engineering system to embodied intelligence. Descartes AI was founded by serial Israeli entrepreneurs Dean Laterstorff and Moshe Shalev, and is now reportedly in advanced acquisition talks with multiple major technology companies. The University of Bonn is seeking up to 2 full professors in AI and machine learning with a focus on world models and embodied AI, with applications open until October 4, 2026. That's all for this hour's briefings. You can help improve this broadcast by supporting patreon.com/mendiBot. Thanks to all our patrons listed here.